Day 29. Today, I wanted to talk a little bit about what it means to be an entrepreneur. And for the most part, there's no real definition of what it means to be an entrepreneur other than the fact that you start your own business. And I think the reality of the situation is when you choose to become an entrepreneur, you're choosing to do something that very, very few people do. Most people get 9 to 5 jobs and they live their lives. But to be your own boss, to be a business owner, is to be somewhat of a trailblazer, to be someone who does things a little bit different, and someone who's willing to take risk and take chances in a way that, most people aren't willing to do. I also want to say this about entrepreneurship is that the reality situation is when you go on this journey, it is full of, well, at least for me, I'm often full of fear. There are a lot of things that are scary about this because so many things, especially the money, is so unknown, so unpredictable. And I really, what I want to say, what I want to do in this video is just kind of share a little bit about my entrepreneurial journey, and hopefully in some of that it may help you, um, because I think for a lot of you, you're in one of three different situations. Either one, you're thinking about starting a business but you haven't, or two, you started a business but things have stalled and so you're kind of frustrated and you really kind of want to just give up. And then there are those of you that, you started your business, maybe you've been in business for a while, but things are just the same old. And more than anything, you want to take your business to the next level, but you're just, man, you just don't know what to do. And I think when it comes to entrepreneurship, we do have this tendency to kind of straddle the line. And I think it's because, it's something we get to choose to do. And then it's also something we can just as easily choose not to do. And I think a lot of that has to do with so much of the unpredictability and so much of the stuff that happens that is feels like it's out of our control. But more than that, it has to do with the fear and anxiety because there is no manual for being an entrepreneur, right? And there are no two businesses that became successful the exact same way. Maybe similar, but by and large, every successful business has a journey, and all of those journeys are completely different from one another. And so it just becomes this real, it becomes stressful kind of to think about, oh, I want to start this business, but I don't know how I'm going to do it. I don't know how to make this money. And what happens if this happened or if that doesn't happen? And I thought about the idea in 2003. I got the website in 2004. And let me say this, for about 7 years, I piddle paddled around, did a little bit of nothingness. I would put energy into the website and I make a little money and then I would disappear. And then I would put, I remember I did something in 2005 and then I didn't do anything again until like 2007. And then I did a little something in 2008 and then I did a little something in 2009. And I don't think I did anything in 2010. And then I remember I kind of got, I don't know, I got this kind of like resurgent energy in 2011. I'm like, I'm doing this. Yeah, I'm going to get this off the ground. I'm going to make it happen. And I did a little something in 2011. And then I'm going to be honest with you, because I felt like, I just felt like I wasn't getting anywhere, honestly. I just felt like I wasn't getting anywhere. And I also was kind of mad at myself for not being consistent and not giving it my all and making things happen. And so I think in 2012, I'll be honest, in 2012, I decided that I said, forget it. I'm not going to do this. This is not going to be my journey. It's not going to be a part of my life. It's not what I'm going to do. I'm going to forget it. Never mind. Just, and I guess in so many ways, I quit. I quit. And I did good for the first few months, but I'm going to tell you something about being an entrepreneur. You can quit all you want to, but that little voice in your head, you know, will always revisit you. Will always like, well, what about that? And remember when you wanted to start your own business? And especially when you're in those moments when you're working a 9 to 5 job and you're like, oh my God, I really, really can't be doing this. Hello, for the rest of my life? Not really? And then you think about, oh, but you struggle because you're like, on one hand, you're like, it's really hard being an entrepreneur. But the reality situation is working at 9 to 5 is even harder. Let's just call it what it is. A spade, a spade. It's much harder, especially when you're an entrepreneur, because you have so much more in terms of capacity to create, to invent, to manifest. And so I quit in 2012, and it's so funny. So about I think it was about 8 months later, I was like, okay, I'm gonna go back to it. Something in me was like, you need to be doing this, Charlotte. It's really what you want to do. I know you haven't been consistent and you haven't been able to, get it off the ground the way you really want to, but let's just go back to this. And I remember I was watching a couple of videos about people doing online businesses, and I think it finally kind of synced into my head that I just needed to let it be a process and to stop feeling like I had to like do everything in like a short amount of time. Because what would happen is I was put a lot of energy and time into stuff, for like 2 weeks or 3 weeks or a month, and then I'd be exhausted. And what I did in 2012, and I did a couple of things. I said, first of all, let this be a journey. Let the business grow from nothing to something. The second thing I did was I just took my time about doing things as opposed to trying to do everything all at once. I just said, okay, we'll work on the website for the next couple of months. Whenever you get time, whenever you kind of are in that space or energy to be able to work on the website, just do that. And I stopped pressuring myself to like accomplish like 400 million things in like 20 seconds. And I remember I was listening to a spiritual message by a spiritual leader that I totally love, and her name is Janine Macklin, and she really talked about this ideal of needlepoint moves. That in life, what we need to do is engage in what we call needlepoint moves, and these needlepoint moves mean that you move. The distance is a needlepoint. When you think about that, you're like, if I move a needlepoint, I really haven't moved. And the truth is, no, you really haven't moved that much. However, I love what she says. She says you got to engage in the needlepoint moves because over a certain amount of time, those needlepoint moves add up. And those needlepoint moves for me were the task that I engaged in around my business. And what I discovered is that after 2 months, after 4 months, after 6 months, that my business had grown. I was able to accomplish, a certain amount of tasks, and I had moved. While it wasn't, I hadn't, moved 100 miles, I may have moved a third of a mile. But that was much further along as it related to my business than I had before. And so for me, I began to kind of just get um, grateful for that. Have gratitude for the fact that I'm making my needlepoint moves as it relates to my business. But more than that, I think that um, one of the things that happens with entrepreneurs is that so much of this is fear. We have so much fear, and I'll be honest, I had a lot of fear. I mean, I had fear of, am I good enough? I had fear about, can I really do this, and will I really make money, and all those voices in my head. But what I discovered is that once I was engaged in my needlepoint moves, I'll be honest, no, the fear didn't go away. But when I was actively, consciously doing the work of my business, fear was not present. And that when I came out from doing the task, that in many ways the fear lessened. Um, and so over time, and with each kind of achievement that I was able to make with my business, I do feel like the fear dissipated. That's not to say that the fear has gone away, because it has not gone away. I mean, I still have moments when I'm very fearful, but and I still feel a little bit of anxiety about the business and making money and da 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 da. But I find that the more I do, the less I feel the fear. And I think what I want to say to you guys is that I understand, like, you know, this is the life of an entrepreneur, is that we kind of live with fear in a much different way than people that have 9 to 5 jobs, because everything is predictable and they don't have to worry about certain things. But when you're the sole proprietor, or you're the one that's really responsible for making that money, then yes, fear is going to be a part of your living. But I'm here to say that, look, yeah, that is a part of our experience. But at the same time, I'm going to tell you that if you just kind of say yes to being an entrepreneur, say yes to doing the little task, whenever you can, to make those needlepoint moves, that the fear will lessen. The fear will um, loosen its grip on you, and you will find that in the place of fear comes like all these different opportunities for success. And I'll give you a perfect example. Today is day 29 of the 31 days to business startup to entrepreneurs. And if you had asked me 3 months ago if I was going to do this video series, I would have said, no, you lost your mind. And here I am. And I think the reason why I'm here is because I continue to make my needlepoint moves, right? The fear lessened. And then what happened is not only did success come in, but also opportunities and creativity and new ideas. So here I am doing 31 days to business startup. And I feel so amazing because had I not just made those other small moves that I've made in 2013 and in the beginning of 2014, I really wouldn't be here today. And so I also think that being an LGBT entrepreneur can be challenging because it's almost like, I would say being an entrepreneur is almost like coming out, right? Because you're doing something completely different and you're different than everybody else, and and so, but I contend and I say to all of you, to my family, the LGBT community, is that, look, you've been able to do the one thing that has been really, really hard in your life, which is come out and to accept and to acknowledge and to affirm who you are. The next step is for you to take that experience, take that kind of knowingness, and apply it to your entrepreneurship. I mean, you know that you're a perfect person as you are right now, and you know that you'll be just as much as a perfect person being the entrepreneur that you were really, really meant to be. So I say to you that I believe in you. That when I think about, it's because I believe in entrepreneurs. And I don't do this because I just want to make money. I do this because I want to create community. And I do this because I want us to be successful. Because I want us to live out our dreams. I want us to have prosperity. I want us to live with passion. I want us to serve the world in a way that is unique and divine and special for us. And so I believe in you. And it's about believing in you as a business owner and knowing that you can make it. And so the entrepreneurship is about us stepping into our passion, stepping into our purpose right in life, and also stepping into prosperity. We deserve, and it is our birthright, and we have just as much of an opportunity and a right to be prosperous as anyone else. So I just want to say that let's do this. Let's take this journey together. And that's what the Business Academy is really about, us taking this journey together. So family, I hope that has been helpful. I hope you, man, I just hope that wherever you are on your entrepreneurship journey, that you will continue, because you deserve all the success that you could handle plus some. and you finally have an organization, an institution, a business that will support and affirm and create community with you. So I hope you'll join me. Again, thank you so much for hanging out with me as always. And I'll see you next time. Take care now. Peace and much love.